Why do we do what we do? Sometimes I need to ask myself, am I doing things because I want to use it as a distraction? Or am I doing things because it's of value to me, it matters to me, and it's open and it's important to me? And sometimes we use our performance, we use our work, we use cleaning the home, we use many different activities just to avoid that feeling of yuckiness that sometimes shows up inside us. That sometimes we have these horrible, disturbing thoughts, some horrible memories sometimes, or maybe an anxious future vision. Maybe we're feeling these uncomfortable emotions that convert themselves into horrible feelings in our body. And that we've learned that if we keep ourselves busy in doing something, we can distract ourselves from these very uncomfortable and sometimes painful experiences that we have. And so I ask myself, because I find myself many times with urges to actually do something to keep myself busy, whether this is going towards something of value for me, something that's really important for me to do, something that matters to me, or whether I'm doing it in order to escape, if you like, to avoid coming in with that uncomfortable feeling that I might just be having because I'm not doing anything. And then this kind of uncomfortable feeling shows up. I feel that I need to do something so that I go on and have a extended preparation for the things that I'm doing. I might be studying extra hard. I might be doing things, working extra hours that I don't need to be working, and kind of doing things twice as much, 3 times as much, 4 times as much as I need to do, because I get this feeling of, what happens if I'm not good enough? What happens if it might make me think I'm stupid? I might be boring to some people. Maybe I'll look incompetent even. Maybe I'll just look mediocre. And I'm kind of using the book today of Mindfulness and Acceptance Workbook for Stress Reduction, because there's a lot of stress involved with that. There's a lot of energy that gets expended with that kind of extra busyness in order to try to cancel out these uncomfortable experiences. And so it's really important that when we're doing something, and it can get quite exhausting keeping this up constantly. So I ask myself, what am I doing this for? Am I moving towards this things that matters to me, these values, the quality living? Is this part of it? Am I moving towards that? Or am I moving away from it? Am I kind of trying to escape? Am I using my work or anything else that I do to try and kind of distract myself? Now, no behaviour is either good or bad. All behaviour is neutral. It's just the context that it's used in, the intention that it's used for. And we can use any behaviour of ours just like any drug or alcohol or any unhealthy behaviour. Any behaviour can actually be used for that if it's used for an intention of numbing out our emotions. So if I'm using my very strict schedule in order just to keep myself busy, because if I'm not, oh my goodness, I get plagued with horrible thoughts and feelings, and my emotions kind of are roller coastering, and I'm getting horrible feelings in my body. So I just keep myself busy. then it really will work in the short term. There's no doubt about that, but it's hard to keep up. And the more I repeat it and the more I repeat it, the more exhausted I will become. And eventually I will just be in a situation where I get burnt out. So it's really important to make space for wellness rather than wait for my body to make space for illness. So in that sense, it's really important to sit back for a bit and contemplate and say, is this just as a distraction in my life, or is this something of meaning and purpose? That's what I'm doing. It's not an easy question to ask. It's not an easy answer to come up with. And sometimes it's really a little bit fuzzy in, which one's which. So, but it's important to take notice of it. It's important to ask myself that question in order to sometimes come to the conclusion of, you know what, I'm going to take a break. I'm pushing myself, and it's okay to take a break. It's okay to stop for a bit. It's okay to take a self-care out. And on the other hand, it might be, no, this is really important to me. This really matters to me. So I'm going to carry on no matter what, because this is something of value and I'm responsible for doing it. So although these are difficult questions, they're questions that I ask myself in order to come to some sort of freedom of choice, that I'm doing things not because my body and mind has just got used to doing them as an automatic distraction, but I'm taking the responsibility, the ownership, and I'm choosing of free will to either carry on to do it or to stop doing it. See you tomorrow.
Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman has embarked on a 12-week daily live challenge to disseminate a mixture of knowledge, combining his hand-picked golden nuggets from his personal library together with his decades of experience and learning. He is doing this as a committed action to service his values of contributing and helping others, using himself as the subject of this exercise. Despite his feelings of awkwardness, anxiousness and shame, which usually forms a barrier of uncomfortableness within, holding him back from accomplishing his goals. Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman is an accomplished psychotherapist and clinical social worker with many years of learning and experience. And yet his self-disclosure of his vulnerability and openness is to demonstrate the human condition that we all experience from time to time. Disclaimer: the contents of this podcast, such as text, graphics, images and other material contained on the podcast, are for informational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis or treatment. Always seek the advice of your mental health professional or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding your condition. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast.